Hey everybody, welcome back. Yes, we are back with another episode of or podcast of Not So Hipster. It's been a while, it's been a hot minute since we've done this. And of course, here with me as always is Eduardo Loo. Say hi, Edward.
Hey everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So glad to be back. Sorry we've been gone for a little bit, but Asiel moved to California and the son of a gun didn't have internet for quite a long time, and that's the longest explanation we're going to give on that because we have important things to talk about. We have presidential things to talk about, don't we, Asiel?
We do have presidential things to talk about. So if you guys haven't seen or heard anywhere, I mean, if you haven't heard, you're probably living under a rock, which I hope you'd move. But if you're living under a rock and you somehow hear this podcast, there was a presidential debate yesterday at around, I think, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or something like that.
Sure.
I don't know what time it was for you, Edward.
It was 8 o'clock for me, so yes,
anyways,
it was 6.
So this was the second presidential debate between Mr. Donald Trump and Mrs. Hillary Clinton.
Senator Hillary Clinton.
Senator Hillary Clinton. Thank you, Edward, for that correction.
You got it.
So this was a different style of a debate because usually in debates what they do is that they have a moderator and they have the two presidential nominees for the Republican side and the Democratic side, and they're just answering questions from the person who's running the show or the moderator. And this case yesterday, they did a town hall style of presidential debate, which that means that there is still a moderator. They ask most of the questions, but it's less of a formal debate and more of an informal debate. It's not really informal, but there are people can actually ask questions to the both of the candidates. So it was really, I guess, I think this is the first time that they've done it this way in the presidential debate. They do town hall debates when it's just their own thing, like only Republicans or only Democrats. That's what they do, the town hall style. But this time it was the town hall style debate in the presidential. I think it was the first time they've done it this way. Would you think that, Edward? Right?
I'm not really sure. I will not say yes or no because I don't know if that was the case. But yes, it was a town hall.
So, like many people, I think I was tuning in and out of the presidential debate. One, because I'm a sports fan and there was Sunday night football going on, so I was watching the football. And two, because I really, really don't like both of the candidates. I mean, yes, I agree with some things that Trump says. Yes, I agree with some things that Hillary says. I also don't agree with something that Trump says. I also don't agree with something that Hillary says. So I'm kind of in the middle, like a lot of Americans are. So this was a good chance for both of the
Nominees.
Not president. Thank you, of the nominees to really I guess really go ahead in the polls and really get those people like me who are in the middle to swing one way or another. So, Edward, you did watch all the debate.
Correct.
You did, right?
Yes, correct.
So, give us a general, for the listeners of this podcast that maybe didn't watch the debate like I did, or were tuning in and out. Give us a kind of a general rundown or what you think, who did better, or just like a general idea of the debate.
So in through the YouTube channel that I was watching it was the Washington Post was where I saw it via YouTube. I saw it kind of without any like subheadings or interruptions that network television usually does. So I felt like they were presenting the debate in the most balanced way possible. However, in my opinion, it was kind of what we saw last time. There was a lot of bickering and arguing and fourth grade talk between the two nominees on stage. It was a lot less formal. The candidates were allowed to move around more. They were allowed to talk more directly to the audience and not so much directly to the camera, which could have been either a good thing or a bad thing. But that pretty much sums up the majority of the debate. There was a lot of things that were off task, which I was counting the minutes to see how quickly we'd get off tasked, and I wasn't surprised when they were off task.
So let me ask you this: you did see the whole debate, so let me ask you this: there was the video that came up from Trump when it was like 2005, something like that, where he was talking in a very derogatory way towards women, and saying all that he said. If you haven't heard it, I'll probably link it down below if I can find it. But I don't know if it's copywritten, so I'll leave that. And if you wanna, I'll link it down below, maybe. So did that affect him at all in this debate?
Definitely. Donald Trump, before coming to the town hall, he had a press conference where he sat next to he sat in the middle of 7 women who had allegedly been raped or molested by Bill Clinton, ex-president of the United States. And directly after the press conference, he went into the town hall meeting. And Anderson Cooper was one that brought up the tape in question and asked him if he felt this way towards women. He said he apologized to his family, he apologized to his friends, but when the tape was brought up, he said he did not say that and that I was being misrepresented by the media. However, throughout the whole thing, it was kind of hard not to talk about it, especially since it had been released 2 days before, and it was a major conversation that was had, because not only did he have that press conference with those women that President Bill Clinton allegedly raped and molested, but he also had them sitting in the audience and also said that Hillary Clinton laughed at the cases of these women who were suing Bill Clinton over these rape allegations.
And I think, I don't agree with all he said, but I think that was a really smart move by Trump, because it deflects. He's how to put this. All the debates that I've seen before the presidential debates, like the Republican debates, this guy is a master at deflecting things. He knows how to use words to go around stuff or deflect stuff, even if those words kind of get him in trouble almost like 98% of the time. So I think from him doing this, I think it was smart, I guess, for him to do it, just because it'll temporarily keep the notion or the people remind them of Bill Clinton has we know the Bill Clinton past, and with when he was in the presidential when he was president and all that stuff. So I think this was a really smart move by Trump. I don't know, I haven't seen the polls yet. I don't know how much that affected him or not affected him. I don't know if the deflection he did with bringing in the women who Bill Clinton allegedly raped, I don't know if that'll help him or hinder him in the long run. Well, I guess we'll just have to see. Maybe this week they'll have more polls to see how both stack up. But so who do you think won the debate here in this second debate? Because I've been hearing a lot of people that say Hillary wasn't prepared like she usually was, and Trump was more prepared. Or I've heard the other way around, where Trump was not prepared. He was just talking just because to talk, and Hillary was the most prepared one. So you seeing the debate, who do you think won, and who do you think did the better in the second debate?
I'm actually going to disagree with you, and I think that it was the most idiotic thing for him to do, to deflect. because there and then he could have set the record straight whether he did mean those things or if he didn't. And the way that he deflected it, I think, was done very, very poorly. It sounded like a conversation you'd have with a child when they're trying not to get in trouble. The question was, were these allegations true? He said, I respect women. I think women respect me. But the problem here is ISIS. And there are ISIS who are beheading people currently in the United States. And then he went on a rant about ISIS. And I think a very strong point that the moderators had was that they kept bringing them back to the topic. They kind of pushed on a little more than was done in the previous debate, kind of in both parties, for both parties, be it the emails of Hillary Clinton or the scandals that Trump has been charged with or accused of. As to who won the night, I think Hillary Clinton won the night. There were a lot of things that she was saying that actually talked about policy, and that talked about trade, and that talked about wages in the middle class and taxes. And she kind of brought the plan and the name of the plan and how she would do it. Trump, on the other hand, would just say he has this plan and that we need to get rid of things and get rid of things, but he doesn't really say how he's going to do it, and that's my biggest problem with him. Currently, right now, if you go to any website that lets you take a quiz based off your beliefs for political things, you'll find that there isn't a lot of things that we can really point to Trump that he actually stands behind. We don't know what his policies would be. Thus far, everything that he said is either contradicting Obama, is either contradicting Hillary, or anyone else for that matter, or deflecting, completely deflecting. And I think that Hillary was super prepared, especially with the questions that were given by the audience. There were some really great questions by the audience. I thought it might get tense. I thought something was going to happen. Luckily, nothing did happen, and they maintained a very balanced range of questions from the audience. But if you were to ask me, I think Hillary won. She seemed more prepared. Her vocabulary was something of a politician and not of a fourth grade child. One of the things that I was kind of hoping we'd hear from this debate, which is a big topic, especially for the Hispanic community, is about immigration. And thus far in both debates, they haven't talked about immigration at all. We've talked about the Muslim community. We've talked about the African American community. But they haven't really talked about the Latino community. And I feel like that's why the majority of Latinos or Hispanics don't really care. Also, a big highlight of the night for me, and I retweeted it, was that apparently Donald Trump couldn't figure out what was more politically correct to say, either Latinos or Hispanics. So he would say the Latino-Hispanic community. And at times, I would look on Twitter and people were mocking him because he didn't know what was more politically correct because he didn't want to get in trouble, especially after saying at the beginning of his campaign and the announcement of his campaign that he wanted to build a wall.
The guy who talks straightforward wanted to be politically correct.
Yeah. As crazy as that sounds. They also talked a lot about apologies and how Donald Trump should apologize to not only the women, but also the LGBT community and the Hispanics and hardworking people who he doesn't give any credit for. But he just kind of went on this rant, and he's like, I'll apologize when you apologize for your for what you did with the emails or whatever. And I found it really weird because if he heard any of the previous debate, she already apologized in the last debate for the emails, and she said that would this situation happen again, that she wouldn't do it the same. There was a lot of back and forth. There was also a lot of whining from Donald Trump questioning Martha and Anderson, who were the moderators, because they cut him off, but they wouldn't cut her off. I found that really childish and really not the attitude someone who's running for president of the United States would be. What other things? I mean, I'm missing a big thing. Give me a second.
So, did they hit anything on taxes? Because I know taxes are a big thing between Republicans and Democrats. You know, Republicans want to, I guess, put a tax break on businesses and stuff like that, and Democrats kind of want to do the opposite. So, did they hit anything on taxes?
Yes, they did talk about taxes. They brought up how Donald Trump hasn't showed his federal tax return.
Yeah.
That we brought that up again as well. He still really won't confirm nor deny anything. If anything, he just kind of keeps saying that him not paying taxes makes him smart, and that the write-off that big corporations have is what allowed him to like do less taxes or whatever. I really didn't understand what they were talking about in that whole big thing. Hillary mentioned that she wanted to help out to lower taxes for everyone, sort of, for the middle class. There you go. That's what she said, the middle class. And to make sure that corporations were being held accountable with what they did with their money. Obviously, Donald Trump said the complete opposite because he's a businessman, and so, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's mainly what they talked about with, also Donald Trump like brought up why Hillary hadn't done anything in her time in office, when she could have done something about the taxes or whatever. And he says that she's been in politics for 30 years and she hasn't done anything. There was a lot of that brought up. He also mentioned that for whatever reason, had he been in control of the war, we wouldn't have lost so many people. More specifically, talking about the Muslim soldier he kind of dishonored, disrespected, and who he hasn't apologized to ever since. But yeah, those were the main big things. Yeah. I can't think of anything else. I'm trying to think of something. Oh, yeah. Also, he mentioned that if he became president, he would have a special prosecutor to find out exactly what Hillary Clinton had in her emails because he wanted to throw her in jail, end quote. He said that specifically. And so media outlets like Mashable, a website that I follow for my news, finds it really weird that a presidential candidate would throw the losing candidate in jail if they became president. Again, just the thing that I think isn't very presidential.
Oh, yeah, I guess, but I mean, still, well, I mean, I don't want to bring up like past issues, but you know what she did was pretty bad, and I mean, I think, I don't know, but anybody else, a regular citizen doing that, I think they would be in jail. I don't know. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not
just refresh my memory
general.
real quick. What happened with those emails?
Well, okay. I think what it was they were in, was it Syria? Was it
okay,
Syria?
Yeah, I think it has to do with Syria.
Was it Syria, or was it hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull up that thing real quick, because I don't want to give misinformation, because it's been a while since they've talked about those so I know that she used the personal server to have a top or highly classified information for the United States of America. And in those, and I think they were blaming her, or they were putting the mark on her for what happened to yeah, okay. So here's a kind of a rundown of what happened. So first, she made herself vulnerable to hackers because I think she used a personal server that could have easily been hacked into. It wasn't one of those government servers that takes a long time to hack into, even though people can still hack into them. And then it says here that Clinton may have been trying to skirt transparency laws. So first of all, I think what it means that when she was saying that no, she didn't use the server of her, a personal server, and then it came out that she did. So then all the stuff went down, and then it was Benghazi. That's the thing. The Benghazi was the big thing where they requested help and help didn't come. I think the movie does a pretty good job of telling the story. I haven't really read the story, so I don't know how good the movie is, but I've been told that it's actually pretty kind of accurate. Of course, Hollywood's gonna over dramatize some stuff, right? Because they got to sell, right? So
So my whole thing with that, I think it has a lot to do with accountability, and I completely believe that. But my whole thing with the emails is the government doesn't let us, the public, read their emails at all. I don't know why it's such a big deal that she used a private server, probably done by someone within the government. There's no way that she was the only one that knew about this server. Because obviously she was communicating with someone, and if they were about deals and stuff, I'm sure people were copied with that email. That, and we're always talking about how we want privacy in our lives, and I'm sure that being a U.S. Senate comes with some privacy as well. I see a lot of people saying, hey, I want to see what those emails said or whatever, right? Like Donald Trump, he was talking about it all last night. He's like, those emails, we want to see what's in those emails. But for whatever reason, those same people that say that want privacy with their cell phones, with their emails, with their things. So I feel like people should be a lot more careful when they're asking for this, because this could open a Pandora's box for our personal stuff. Because then you say, well, if they've done that, then they can do it to the citizens as well.
Well, I don't think so, just because
they already do.
As well. I think
Project Prism was launched right after 9/11 for that same reason.
But I mean, us as citizens, we're supposed to have more privacy than people who are in public. That's just a fact.
Wait, a fact as in it's written somewhere?
A fact as in like like journalism facts. I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist by trade and by study. So studying journalism, you can a public person doesn't have as many privacy as a non-public figure.
I think we're all equally prone to being hacked, whether you whether you be a public person, whether you be a private person. So you saying that they have more privacy, I don't think is completely accurate. If anything, they're exposed even more than us, which makes them have less privacy, which I don't believe should be which I don't even think should be which I don't even think should be the point here. But my whole point is she's a citizen of the United States. What she dealt with had to do with the United States. And so if people are saying, well, we want to see her emails, then that makes it so the government will be like, well, we want to see your emails because she's as much of a citizen as you are, if that makes any sense. Because I don't think the rules or the laws, ideally, don't change whether you're a politician or you're just a citizen.
Well, they shouldn't change. That's the thing. They shouldn't. Sometimes I guess they do, but they shouldn't change. And they do to help out or hinder. Both. It goes both ways. So
the main reason, as it might be uneducated as it might sound, the main reason why I will be voting for Hillary Clinton in this presidential race is because I see that she's actually a politician. Donald Trump hasn't mentioned anything worth politics at all. I was studying his answers the other day to try and figure out, because I mean it's a big deal. I was studying his answers the other day, and he does this really weird thing where he phrases his answers to speak to you in the second person, like directly to you, and to structure his sentences so the last word can be the most impactful. That to me sounds like a business salesman. That doesn't sound to me like a politician. I rather have a flight, an airplane driven by someone who's experienced than someone who's good at, I don't know, writing. Zapatero a sus zapatos, there's a saying in Spanish. I'm totally for entrepreneurs who want to go out of their way and do cool things within their certain field. But this is out of Donald Trump's field. And I don't understand how he's made it this far. Especially with the allegations he's had in the past, which aren't as pretty as Hillary Clinton's. During the time of 2005, when the tape was released for Donald Trump, where he was saying the things that he was saying, I think Hillary Clinton was working with something that had to do with the aftermath of 9/11 within other countries. That's my whole thing.
Well, let me be the devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
Like I said, this election, I'm not voting for anybody.
That's really dumb. Don't do that.
Well, I
Vote
don't
for
know.
someone.
I'll probably vote, but I don't even know if I can vote because I just moved to California, so I don't know. I don't know what the laws are for that, and I don't know if I can send in my vote through mail or something. If anybody knows, leave it in the comment down below. If I can vote here in California, I'll vote, but I don't know what the laws are. Anyways,
Devil advocate.
yeah, let me be the devil's advocate and say, like a lot of people have said, multiple news organizations, both ways, have said, well, Hillary has been 30 plus years in the office.
Correct.
We need somebody that has a fresh perspective on things.
Okay.
I think, and talking, and let's use your illustration of the pilot. So you have a pilot.
Correct.
Who has 30 years experience, and you have a
Correct.
pilot who has, I guess, 1 year experience in politics.
Here's the thing, though.
Maybe
Here's
he
the
has
thing.
1 year. I don't know.
Here's the thing, though. That guy who has a year isn't even a pilot because he hasn't gotten his certification. For you to fly, I think you have to. For you to fly other people, not just yourself, I think you need a year and a half too. And you need to start off with like smaller planes or whatever. My whole thing is here they're not even in the same field. She's a politician who's been doing it for a really long time. If you really want to say that, okay, that bugs me. 30 plus years, she's been here long enough. Let's get a new take on things. Then start electing younger people who are actually politicians. Because if I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong. Donald Trump has been doing business for around the same time that Hillary Clinton has been a politician.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, I think they're about the same age. I think.
Yeah, I think they're about the same age too. That's my whole thing. I feel like I want to go with the person that is more experienced with all of this, because I don't want his little test pilot or a beta test to be the president of the United States. You could be mayor. Go ahead, try and be mayor. Go and try and be something smaller, but do not start off with president of the United States.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I said, I'm still, like I said, I'm still stuck in the middle. Like I said, I agree with both sides. I'm for sure gonna watch the last debate.
It's the 19th, I think.
Yeah, and it's right here close to where I live. It's gonna be in Las Vegas.
Hey, go to it.
I wish. I'm gonna tell my boss that we need to cover it for the newspaper. That way I can get a press. I can be press and not even have to pay for the ticket. But yeah, I'll be watching the last debate, see if any candidate swings me one way or another. Like I said, I do agree with some of the Trump things.
So wait, I would like to know because I'm really curious about this.
Huh?
What do you agree that he says?
Well, like you said, he hasn't really said what he was gonna do. But if he does it,
wait, does
like
what?
For example, one thing that I really like that he said that he was gonna do, hopefully, if he's president, maybe he'll do it. I don't know. I'm starting to sound like Trump. All right.
Correct.
Okay.
Off to a bad start, but okay.
Okay. Is that he says that he will bring back the companies that left back to the U.S.
Okay.
Which I think is a really good idea.
Okay. Why do you think is a good idea?
Well, you create more jobs. I mean, things will be more expensive.
Okay.
Because I guess in like my uncle, I know this from I guess firsthand experience. My uncle, he works at he's an engineer for the company who manufactures the little wheels for the Walmart cars and Target cars and all those shopping carts you use to when you go shopping for groceries or whatnot. So he does say that exporting stuff to China and buying it from there is cheaper and they make more of a profit. But also, I think this is just personally me, but I'm not really sure because I'm not really a politician or a businessman. I think bringing back jobs to the U.S. will help cities like, for example, like Chicago, that pretty much all of the car companies kind of left, and like there was a year when Chevy and all those Chevy, Dodge, they were firing people by the thousands, not even by the hundreds, by the thousands. There was a year where there was a lot of people that were laid off because they couldn't afford to stay here anymore in the U.S. They had to ship everything out to either China or India or whatever. So I think bringing back jobs, bringing back those big companies, will, I think, help the economy. One, two, will probably bring in more jobs, and you can make like, for example, Chicago might get out of their debt that they have, because that was their main production, was the cars. That's what that state was known for. I think it was Chicago, right?
I think
Detroit?
so. Yeah, I think it's the Chrysler company is from there.
Yeah, Chrysler, like, they're pretty much all from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they were, and most of them either left or they, like I said, they did away with all those employees. So I think that's one big thing that I agree with him.
So I would like to know how he's going to do that. Do you know?
I don't
how?
know.
Okay.
I have no idea. He
know.
hasn't said. That's why I prefaced my comments by saying that if he does, because you said, he still hasn't said. He still hasn't said, okay, I'm gonna do this by doing this.
Right.
He still hasn't said that. But if he does do what he's gonna say, I think that one thing is very good. On Hillary's side, I do agree.
Wait. So let's stay on that topic for a second, because I'd like to do the devil's advocate for this one.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna try not to go back, because they say if you repeat history, it's probably bad or something. I don't know. No one says that.
I think Doctor Who said that or something like that.
Yeah. I think, I agree with Hillary Clinton on the opposite statement on that, where I don't want them to come back because they've already established, and they would play at a loss if they came back, because it would require them moving all of their factories, and so those companies would be at a loss for that. Instead, I want the smaller companies to start taking over. I want those companies to grow, and if they want to expand, go for it and expand. If anything, the United States should be a hospital of a full room of new young babies, in this case the new businesses, so they can expand. Look at Tesla. Tesla's a great example. Everything that they're building is here in the United States. They're trying to build the biggest gigafactory for Teslas here in the United States, which was a company that was started here around 2002, give or take. And that's what I really like.
Which, by the way, there is a Tesla charging station where I live. So I'm gonna get out. You're not getting a Tesla. Hopefully, I'm gonna get a Tesla in like 2 years, which is gonna be amazing. Okay. Anyways, continue.
Anyway, and as a person who potentially would like to have, for example, an audio production business or any sort of business, it'd be great if I had the support and maybe not so much the fear of these big companies just kind of being here and making their stay, because then you get things like monopolies, and you get these big overlord companies that kind of dictate how the market moves. Instead, heck, I want to have the most variety possible, and so that's why I prefer the idea of letting those big companies be over there. I'm still going to purchase their products anyway, but instead have these new jobs come from people who are creating these jobs, and that's why I'm running for president 2036. You know what I mean?
I'm still voting for Philip DeFranco in 2020. Sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Anyways,
so that was my argument for that.
Yeah,
one.
that's actually a really, really good argument.
That, and she's kind of already talked about how she's going to do that, whether it be with taxes or she mentioned something else. It had to do with the taxes, on how she would help small businesses kind of get started. That way they could ideally become bigger companies, and they would be born here in the United States of America. And that's Well, I mean, she explained how she was going to do it. I liked how she explained it, and I liked the concept behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good counter argument to the argument. So, what I like about Hillary is her that she's gonna, because if she does do it, like that's what you have to say with all these presidential promises, because sometimes they do, sometimes they can't, sometimes it doesn't happen. So if she does do it, hopefully is keep the middle class afloat. That's what I do like about Hillary's plan, is the middle class, because the middle class, I think, is pretty much what moves the economy. We're not the 1%, and we're also not the unemployed faction. We're right in the middle. I can consider myself a middle class now because I'm employed. Yay!
Boo.
So
yay!
So like, giving tax breaks to the rich and powerful and business can help, but it also can hinder. Because you give tax breaks to the big companies, then I guess they can spend more on employees and hiring. But also, if you give them tax breaks, they can do whatever they want with the money. They can give themselves big bonuses and stuff like that, and not use the money for good, like a company should. The company with a lot of, like, for example, if you were a big company, you get a tax break. What you want to do is, use that money from the tax break to hire more people, right?
Right.
That's what you want to do. But sometimes these companies or CEOs get really greedy, and they give themselves billion-dollar bonuses.
I think they might have brought up some sort of limitation to that. They were arguing about a limitation, and that Donald Trump kind of abused of it, and then he mentioned that so did the contributors to the Hillary Clinton campaign abused it. There was a whole big thing on that. But if that does go through, obviously there'd have to be stricter regulation on how businesses operated and what their money was spent on. And I feel like that has a lot to do with accountability, which I feel like is a huge topic as you grow older. Accountability is really important, especially if you're a business, if you're a big figure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I mainly disagree with Donald Trump is this whole phobia of anyone who isn't white, as it feels it's been, or white and straight, I guess. Obviously, the diversity in the United States is growing, and I don't understand why they want to limit it back to just being white people when white people themselves are immigrants. I've never understood that. I don't agree with the whole big wall because it would cost a lot of money. It would be just ridiculous. The trade deals would be completely ridiculous. I completely agree with the trade deals because it's kind of like us being nice kids at a playground and everyone gets along with the other countries. If you trade with me, I trade with you, and that's how it should be. I don't understand why we want to make everything just in the United States, because then I think that causes inflation. I'm not really sure if it does. I know people have run simulations with algorithms on how it would happen if we didn't trade at all and everything was within the United States. And I don't think it could really work out.
Oh, no, it won't work. Because,
exactly.
Trade was meant for us to grow as economy. The economy grows with trade. All the world's economy grows, and when the world economy grows, then everything's better.
Exactly. So I don't completely understand the whole getting rid of the free trade. Free trade. I think it's called free trade.
It's like the FTP, something like
that. Yeah. The Trans-Pacific.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. But they were talking about that. Donald Trump wants to get rid of it. I don't understand that. I mean, the more we trade, I feel like it helps everyone. It's a win-win-win-win. But according to him, the deals that we're doing with other countries are horrible or something.
Yeah, I really haven't looked into what all the trade is. I mean, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know. I can't give you a yes or no answer. But that's another thing that I have to do my homework on. See what the deals actually are. I don't know. Maybe the deals are really good. Maybe the deals are not as great for us and great for everybody else. I don't know. That's another thing that I'm iffy about. I would have to see more information on that before I can make a decision.
Right. as to the whole Hillary Clinton and the email things, I mean, the worst part of it is that this would have never been a topic of controversy had it not come to light. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure bad things were made, and it's kind of weird saying if things had not come to light. But when you think about all the things that politicians do to get to where they are, it really doesn't scale up. I'm sure there's things that we have no idea that are going on, that if we found out the Hillary thing would be a complete joke. The other day I was looking at a documentary, well, sort of a documentary done by, I forget his name. He does the Late Late Show.
James Gordon?
No, it's not. It's a political one. It's the political satire one.
Last Week Tonight?
Yes, John Oliver. There you go.
John Oliver?
John Oliver did a report a couple of years back, to where it had been about what if America banned guns, because guns are a big point of controversy. They haven't talked about that either. And so if we got rid of all guns, what would happen? And so his main point of argument was Australia. Australia got rid of rifles back in 2005 or something, after there was a mass massacre, and thus far there haven't been any massacres, and the homicide rate with a gun has gone down. And so one of the things that was brought up, John Oliver questioned one of the senators, or one of the politicians that was for guns here in America, and he asked him, what makes a politician successful? And he said, being able to get voted again. Sadly, half of the things that politicians do aren't for the good of the society, but instead how it can benefit the politicians in their own personal agenda. And so when you take a second, realize that, and then you kind of look at the Hillary Clinton emails, you kind of have to start to wonder, why would she use a private email? Why wouldn't she use a government's email? In my head, she was kind of doing a heroic thing to just kind of stand out. Obviously, you need to take a lot more pre-measures with something of that nature. But I think the emails are a whole big joke now, and I don't think it should be as big of a deal as it is, because we don't even know what is in those emails. If we knew specifics and it was something really bad, then you'd win the argument. But we don't even know what it is. So I don't know why people make such a big deal about it.
Oh no, like I said, it's an ongoing thing. I don't know if, like I said, we can't make a decision based on things that we can only speculate on.
Exactly.
So I don't know. That's one thing. That's a gray area-ish thing. It's not like the person that we love and follow, Philip DeFranco, says, the world is not black or white. There's gray in the middle.
And if anything,
that's one of the great things in the middle. Like, we can't know for sure what happened or what was in those emails. If it was classified stuff, it wasn't classified stuff. If it was just her, like she says, her yoga and her daughter's wedding, then so it's all right. It's your own personal email thing, I guess. I don't know.
Also, one of the things that I've started to notice more and more, I'm going to be doing a mock Senate session soon. Because I kind of want to get to study politics. I've been talking to my family. I potentially want to do a career in politics at the same time as I do a communication thing.
I'll be your PR.
Thank you. I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, definitely.
/ marketing.
And so one of the things that I've learned...
/ person who parties for you.
Thank you. And so one of the things that I've learned with government and politics, more specifically in the United States, is that you're guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around. And I feel like that's what's happening here with Hillary Clinton. And because it's such a big deal, because it regards our nation's safety, supposedly, even though we don't know what it is. But I really dislike that we're not holding that double standard to Donald Trump. I see a lot of people just say, well, what he said was just locker room talk. And I'm like, I have never said anything like that. So if you call it locker room talk, it's kind of like assuming that all guys do it. And I don't, if that makes any sense. And no one gives him a hard time about it. No one really says anything. And that's what bugs me.
Yeah, that's that's a good observation.
Thank you for listening to our annoying voices about the debate. Make sure you catch the last debate on October 19th. Find out exactly where you can watch it if you don't have cable. There are a couple of YouTube channels that stream it. And YouTube itself promotes the event itself, so you can go watch the live stream.
Yeah, and don't forget to vote. Even if you're not voting for the presidential nominees, there are still a lot of things that are gonna be there in the ballots. It's not only gonna be a presidential name. It's gonna be prop this, prop that. Like here in California, it's prop
Marijuana.
30 or something like that. 33. It's to legalize recreational marijuana. That's the big thing in California. It's also a big thing in Arizona because I live close to Arizona, so it's also a big thing in Arizona. So yeah, just make sure you go out and vote. Exercise your right to vote.
Yeah.
If anybody knows if I can vote here in California, comment in the.
Wait, I can find out right now. Give me a second. I retweeted something.
I want the audience to like communicate with us, man.
No, definitely not. So your deadline doesn't end tomorrow. So you still have time to go register to vote. Because for Texas, our deadline is tomorrow for registration. My dad hasn't registered. I need to get on his butt about it. Yeah, but go to www.vote.gov to register if you haven't registered, and if you still can register. But yeah, please go vote. This is going to be a really crucial year because everything's getting switched up. Everything gets switched up this year.
Yeah, well, it depends who wins. If Hillary wins, and I guess we're gonna.
I mean, either way, no. Either way, because things locally change. I mean.
Oh yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Local things are always gonna switch off. Here in the job that I work for in the newspaper, we're getting ready to do all these candidate interviews for city council and for school board and for all this stuff, all these fun stuff that are coming up. So that's the note we want to end with. Please go vote. I will link it in the description down below. Thank you as always for listening to the podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Asiel Flores. You can find me on Twitter at Asiel91.
And my name's Eduardo Loo. You can find me everywhere you want to look for me at Chuntillo. That's CHUNTILLO. That's on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr, except I don't use Tumblr, and Facebook.
All right, guys. See you next time.
Bye, guys.